Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thot Flash. And I gotta tell you, I'm in central New York today. I'm in a town called Cazenovia, right out of Syracuse, and it is probably one of the most beautiful days I've ever remembered. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So I spent most of the day, I'm a little tired, but I spent most of the day working on the yard. So it was just great, and spent time with my boys, and it was, and I got them sweating a little. Got a couple of good blisters, so I know that was good. Today I wanted to just give a heads up on our next event. We're going to be in Boston on July 20th to 21st, and I got to tell you, it is going to be great. The last event we had in Philadelphia filled up the room. It was just enthusiasm, and there was passion, and we had Chris Kent. I mean, could you ask for a better speaker than Chris Kent, and CE credits? It was just great on every level. We had Martha Nessler there who spoke. She was fantastic. So looking forward to seeing a bigger group in Boston. I'm amazed at how fast chiropassion is growing, and more people are coming in, and we just had somebody join our program from Puerto Rico, so that was just unbelievable. So real interesting to have some international people now, so it's great. Today I wanted to talk about disease, and I've been looking at some videos on the internet, and a couple of guys were real excited about some videos, and you know, it just struck me that one of these speakers most recently was talking about disease, and he said that disease doesn't exist. That's what he said. He said, you know, the new wave of medicine is that disease doesn't exist, that they're looking for systems, that drugs no longer treat the disease, but the drugs of the future will treat the system. And as a result, they were looking more like into a functional approach. And you know, I had a lot of chiropractors who were excited about it, and they're passing some videos around the internet. And you know, I got to tell you, as much as I agree with everything this gentleman had to say, and I didn't agree with everything, but as much as I agreed with so much of what he had to say, you know, it just bothers me still that we as chiropractors are still, you know, we're waiting for some messiah to come. We're waiting for, you know, some guy on the Oprah Winfrey show to sell a book, or we're waiting for, you know, some chiropractor to save us, when, you know, the reality is we got to save ourselves. You know, diseases don't exist. Newsflash, people. Read the first two books of D.D. Palmer. That's all he wrote. He wrote about all the systems of the body. He wrote that how all these systems are interconnected, that the major master control system is the brain and nervous system, that innate resides throughout the entire body, that all cells have innate within them, and that the nervous system is the hardware that allows proper communication to the body. I mean, you know, there isn't disease. It's dis-ease. That all sickness is a loss of function. It's dysfunction. It's cellular dysfunction. But starting from the initial premise that all body cells know what to do and how to function, and know exactly what to do, that when there is a sickness and a so-called disease, which is really what? A diagnosis based upon a culmination of symptomatology that tends to fit in that box. Say if you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you're depressed. If you have A, B, C, D, F, G, you've got cholesterol problems, whatever, you know. And then we're trying to treat the disease with these drugs as if that's a deficiency. So no, the new medicine is, oh, let's step back and, you know, we're going to use drugs to treat the system. They still don't get it. I don't understand why so many chiropractors were excited to see this when they still don't get it. You know, the drugs of the future will treat the system. Folks, newsflash, we don't need new drugs. We don't need more drugs. We don't need a new paradigm of now the drugs are treating the systems rather than disease. So, oh my God, they're finally getting it. They're still not getting it. They don't understand. And when you read the philosophy, the reality is, look at everything that you need, you know, in 8% of us is perfect. You know, we've got some genetic protein issues with some people, and I get that, but the reality is everything's perfect. So if we start with perfection and the body starts to exhibit symptomatology, I can't even anchor that symptomatology to a sickness or disease, because I don't know how many people, you know, they go to all these specialists, and it's, you know, a Mayo Clinic I think it was Mayo Clinic in the Cleveland Clinic, over 60-something%, almost 70% of the diagnoses that were labeled upon autopsy were wrong. So even the collection of symptomatology based upon a block and that logarithmic chart is wrong. You know, we can't get excited about that. You know, I still say that is still, it's still a perversion of the purist. That's the beauty of chiropractic. Chiropractic starts with the 33 principle. It starts with an intention and an objective. That there's something that's already there. I don't know what, you know, where it came from or what created it, but the reality is, if we start with that perfection is already there, and that our job is to instill the perfection in order, the wrong word. Our job is to nurture it, to allow the perfection to fully express itself. That's our job. So if you got full quantity, full quality of communication, we're going to have health. Yes, there's deficiencies in matter. Yes, there's nutrition and exercise, and those are other aspects. I don't deny that. That's important. You can't just adjust somebody and tell them to sit on the couch, smoke cigarettes, and eat potato chips. And I don't think anybody's saying that. But the reality is, if you're not addressing subluxation, then you're not practicing chiropractic. And all these people talking about functional medicine and all that, I mean, that's great. Flora and the gut and good nutrition and omega-3s, great stuff. I have it, I eat it, I put it in my body. It's something that we certainly share in the office, but the reality is the foundation, the concrete with rebar that you have to lay within your practice is one thing, and that is neurologic communication. You have to talk about the mental impulse. You have to talk about connecting the eternal, the infinite, the perfection of the eternal universe to the body to allow it to animate and work the way it's supposed to. That's what chiropractic is. That's it. You know, we're looking at the CCE, we're looking at all these other groups in the profession that want to move us more towards the old paradigm of medicine. Medicine's come our way. I don't disagree with that. But still, they're still talking about using drugs to treat systems now rather than disease. In the end, they still don't get it. In the end, they're still short of knowing if you will, the perfect swing. If you the good word, they're still short. It's still a failed, if you will, replication, a failed impersonation of what chiropractic is. They're moving closer to what we already had, and yeah, I use that word specifically. What we already had. And there's a small group, thank God, of chiropractors in this country that are still holding strong to that vision. And the hope is that if we hold on strong enough and long enough, what'll happen is everyone will start to get it and they'll start to come our way, closer and closer. So they'll start from that perfection. That's the reality. You know, when P.J. Palmer talks about making it unsullied, when he talks about may urinate always flow from above down, inside out, that there's more than just a quick gesture of hello. He's expressing the 33 principles in a moment, in a small sentence, to say, look at may urinate, that eternal guardian given to us by the universe, birthed by universal intelligence. He's giving that to us. You know, we get real philosophical, and we can show you all the science, showing all the systems and so forth, but we get really complicated, and I'm not saying you shouldn't understand that and have an appreciation for that. I'm not saying that at all. But listen, the reality is you don't need to measure the amount of food exactly and mix it exactly in a certain way and eat it in a certain manner and swallow it in order for the body to assimilate it. You know, so you don't need to know all the systems of digestion for your body to digest it and take a simple spoon of food and make, an eye cell and a liver cell and a hair cell and a skin cell, do you? So the reality is knowing all those systems, to me, one, it gives me a greater appreciation for the universe and its intelligence and how much we don't know. And two, you're still taking on the level of arrogance in the idea that that's all there is. Like, oh yeah, we got to figure it out. We don't know anything. We're just beginning to understand. And we have to approach it with total humility to fully appreciate what's going on. Because just because we can name the Krebs cycle or glycolysis or something, we act as if we got it all figured out. Where did that system come from? And what about the 6 other systems that affect that system? It gets so complicated that knowing all those systems certainly may help in crisis and so forth, but we don't necessarily need to know all those systems, because in the end, there's going to be 20 other systems we don't know. that are working behind the scenes that we haven't figured out yet. You know, the reality is that start with the premise and understand that there's an intelligence that exists far greater than our level of comprehension at this point. It's infinite, it's eternal, and it has one thing: to express itself. And expressing itself is through health and beauty. That's what it is. Our job is to work, if you will, as a steward towards innate, or with innate, to allow the body to work the way it's supposed to. So don't forget, we got Boston coming up. I want to be able to call the hotel in Boston and say we need a bigger room. So for those clients that are a part of our program, certainly we ask you to bring somebody else. For somebody that's new to our program, maybe you're being introduced to us for the first time, by all means, bring as many people as you can. Bring your whole staff. Let's get 2 or 3 rooms. Let's take the walls down, and let's just have a huge room and talk about philosophy and science and get you focused and passionate and start having fun and practice again. That's the joy of working with Chiropassion Consulting, guys. This has been Dr. Joe Borio. May your innate flow from above down, inside out. I love you for loving what I love, guys. Have a great week.
Best friend gave me the best advice.